All right, so good afternoon, Mr. Pinnock. Did I say your last name correct? Is it Pinnock?
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Pinnock and Ms. Taylor. I appreciate y'all taking the time to choose me as your counselor to come in and just kind of figure out how I can be a support for you guys during your time of need right now. Um, I got the assessment back. And so, based off of that assessment, thank you for sending it back to me. And based off of that, I have a couple of questions to follow up with some of the assessment questions. And then from there, as I ask you the questions, feel free to, elaborate as best as possible because it's only going to help me be able to provide a treatment plan for you guys towards the end of this intake. So, again, I want to thank you guys for choosing me as your counselor on today. I have with me Mr. Anthony Pinnock and Ms. Brittany Taylor, and they came in today with a particular issue or concern that they would like to talk about. So I'm going to go ahead and start with my questioning. And you might see me with my head down because I'm just jotting some notes down, so don't mind me. You can continue to talk if need be if I ask a particular question. So tell me, why did you decide to seek counseling at this time?
Um, I would say we decided to seek counseling at this time due to a reoccurring conversation, pretty much where we find ourselves to have the same issue. And then it seems like when we do talk about it, it doesn't fully get resolved. So then we find ourselves to go right back into it, and it puts us back, it backtracks us a little bit when we're trying to move forward.
Okay, so a reoccurring issue, it sounds like. Are
Mhm.
you able to elaborate on what the issue is?
Yeah, so the issue is the fact of like right about now, I'm pregnant and I'm getting close to my due date. And it's a situation where, my partner is looking to move into a different job. He's transferring over to a different job at the moment. And with him doing that, it was requiring him not to really be sure if he was going to be there pretty much when I have the baby and after I have the baby, where the job he's currently at now, um, he then built time for maternity leave and to actually be able to have time where he's able to, show up while while having the baby and at the maternity leave to be present, to be by my side. So that is pretty much the issue at this moment.
Okay, so let me see if I understand what you're saying. So with the current job that Mr. Anthony has, it sounds like it might be some availability with the maternity leave for him to be available with the new baby coming, but possibly with the new potential position, that might not be the case. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so it won't be the case. It
So
just
with the new
everything.
job, it won't be the case.
Yeah.
You won't.
So I
Okay.
spoke with them already. There is no earn. There is no. It's a seniority based type of job, and those type of benefits don't kick in until after a year of being on the job. In which all of this kind of it's a government job. I applied probably 5 6 months ago. Didn't expect it to take that long. They did say it takes. They're not a job where you apply and you just get the job. It takes at least 3 months. Gave them the benefit of the doubt. Thought it was gonna take probably like 2 months or so, but it's been going on like 5 6 months now. Now
Okay.
everything I got the email of. I've been going through the processes of it. I mean, she's been aware of everything that I've had to do, um, the meetings I had to go to for the job and everything. But we didn't expect that I was gonna get a start date literally right around the same time that the baby's due and everything, and pretty much it put a bind in where what is there to do at the moment type of thing, like how to make the right decision with moving forward for something that's been going on for so long.
Got it. Okay. Um, And thanks for that feedback on just elaborating on that, Mr. Pinnock. So, is it a definitive? You have decided to take the position? Is that correct?
Um, I am taking the position, but what ended up happening is that we spoke about it for a while, pretty much 2 days about the situation and trying to understand the best way of going about it. So what ended up happening was the this main situation actually really came up after everything was done with, where I already put in my 2 weeks to my job and I'm expecting to start on the start date they provided. But after it got closer, she believed that I was going to be able to take time off. But as I told her, they're on a strict training program. It's 8 to 10 weeks straight. And the recruiter told me that it's one thing to miss one day, it's another thing to miss 2 days. You miss 2 days and you miss a lot of information. So it was pretty much trying to work with the situation where honestly, it never crossed my mind as I would cross her mind to, because I'm kind of over my job as well. So it never really dawned on me to say, just hold back for a little bit longer. I mean, it's about 30% increase in the pay from what I'm getting right now. So for me, it was all green lights. So just we were trying to see where to take the next step at that moment.
Okay. All right. And I definitely hear what you're saying, and it sounds like there's some reason behind like why you chose to take the position, and then also you weren't necessarily sure, it sounds like, when the position would even come about. It sounds like there's some benefits there with the increase in salary, which I guess could potentially help as it pertains to having a new child. Have you guys talked about any of like the pros and cons, um, now that you're going to have to kind of like switch gears with whatever you guys had originally talked about from Mr. Pinnock's, prior employer?
Yes, we have spoken about the pros and cons that come with it. Um, yeah, there has been discussion there, and where it leads to is just where it makes more sense, where he just finds himself to withdraw his 2 week notice and to try to push back the other job positioning, because it's not like there's not another open window for it. So, with the pros and cons that come with it, it's just more so where it's like, okay, this your first time dad. You'll be able to be there physically and emotionally for me and your child. Those are the pros of it. And him being able to also go out, still being able to get paid and get money, although it's not as much as what he would expect to get and want to get at the moment. It's just pretty much putting himself in a position of putting like his family first in the situation. And I mean, with him going on to the other job, the con is that there's potentially a chance you could miss your child being born. And it could be cons where it's just like, now you put me in a position to, be alone while giving birth, and, trying to find other people to depend on for support after having a baby, where, it was a conversation me and him had where we put ourselves in a position of, bringing this baby into the world. So it's really one of those things where it's our responsibility. Like, yes, it's nice to have other support from other people, but still, at the end of the day, it's our responsibility.
Gotcha. Okay. Um, so how about, and thank you, Ms. Taylor, for your pros and cons. Um, did you want to shed light, Mr. Pinnock, on pros and cons from your perspective?
I mean, I agreed to it. I mean, for the most part, for me, like I said, I was just pretty over this job. I mean, I've been there for a couple of years. Um, Personally, I haven't really stayed at a job over longest I've been at a job was about 4.5 years, but most of my jobs, it's like once I learn the job, I understand the job long enough. If I don't see major growth within it, I think the longest I've stayed at a job is about 2.5 years. I've been here for 2 years now. And this is for probably the last 8 years or so. Um, and it's not really like I'm getting kicked out of my job. I just, if I don't find any more room for growth, or there's something else that's happening in life for me at the moment where I'm like, I feel as if I can do something better, I kind of just move into it. And this was one of those situations. So when we first had the conversation about everything, it was pretty much just about the fact of I wasn't I wasn't even, it's not that I wasn't thinking about the baby or anything like that. It was just, this is a great opportunity for all of us type of thing. So um but I do agree with what you were saying though.
Okay. So that's some good points right there. It sound like the main thing I heard you say was that you kind of have some burnout there with the current or prior job. Well, let's just say current because you're still there, and
Yeah.
you're just like over it, which was your words. Which I get that. And it sounds like it was also what you mentioned, a great opportunity. So you are foreseeing the future for you and your family. But then it also, in another light, you're saying you do agree with your partner in terms of some of the things she mentioned, just not missing out on the child being born and your first child and those kind of pivotal moments that
Right.
you don't want to kind of regret missing. So, okay, well, I'm going to table this for right now. I appreciate the feedback on that. Um, we're going to shift gears just a little bit. Tell me about some positive things about your relationship.
Um, some positive things about our relationship, I would say, um, just for me to speak on my partner in regards to that, it's more so where it's like, we're able to really sit down and actually have conversations without, you know, arguing with each other. It's more of a presence thing of being able to sit down and just communicate our feelings. And, you know, I recognize the fact of when I do bring things to his attention, it might not sink in right then and there at the moment, but at the time, as time goes by, I do see improvement where he finds himself to, understand where I'm coming from. Like I said, it might take some time, but it's always improvement at the end of the day. So that's like one of the main pros that I see is someone that's willing to actually, take in what my concerns are, my feelings, and everything that comes with it, and, take it into consideration.
Okay, that's good. And Mr. Pinnock,
I would agree. I would agree to that. I mean, the major thing for me is that whenever it comes to anything, one thing I can say is like, as she said, it's not really an argument in anything. Um, there's disagreements and all, but I think it's just one of those things of where um, we've been together going on about 3 years, and one thing I could say I think we both, without having a say, agree upon is that if there's a disagreement and feel any type of way, it's not as if we argue about it, like shouting back and forth. It's we might before doing all of that, it's gonna be something silent. It's gonna be silent before doing all the arguing back and forth, because I think it's a thing that from just whether she's experienced it as well, and I know I've experienced it in the past before, learning that all the yelling back and forth doesn't really do anything. It's just all you're doing is shouting your point across. The other person's not really hearing it. So it's just okay, we might be quiet for a little bit and then somebody will be like, okay, I sense there's some tension. Okay, all right. Now it's brought up. Okay, so now let's talk about it. And then we just talk it out. Sometimes still don't agree, but it's a conversation of where it's like just understand where I'm coming from type of thing. I know you might not agree to exactly what I'm saying, but it's more so much this is why I've been silent. This is why I've been moving this type of way. It's just more of a lack of a word that I probably want to use. I'm gonna just say more of a civil way of disagreeing versus doing the back and forth arguing and yelling type of thing.
That's good. And so actually my next question, which I think you guys might have answered from that response, is what are your strengths as a couple? And my takeaways from what you just mentioned from a positive aspect is that you guys kind of agree to disagree. You have time where you might, be a little nonverbal and process things before you actually, talk it through. But more importantly, you guys are non-argumentative, and I think that's great, because whenever you're trying to communicate, it takes a speaker and a listener, and if everybody's talking at the same time, then of course nothing's going to get resolved because nobody can hear each other's concerns. So that's awesome. And am I right with that? Is that considered like one of y'all strengths, like
Yeah, I would
communication?
say that.
Okay. Okay. All right, so this is another question is a little bit more happier time. Tell me a little bit about how y'all met, just like a generalized history. Yeah, I see that smile. That's a good moment to remember, huh?
Um, I would pretty much say, I mean, we pretty much met just being friends. I mean, I work out, he works out. He had his friends in the gym that he would pretty much, be in there and, be working out with the fellas and everything. And I was just in person doing my own thing majority of the time. And, this was all around the time of COVID. So there was times where certain our gym got closed down and other gyms were open, and we just started. It was just like, oh, I'll ride you out there. Everyone could just get in my car, or whoever's coming, we could all just go together. And so from there, we pretty much just, went to the gym together, and then it was just moments of, um, us just being in contact about like how we're eating and sending each other our food and stuff like that. Of like, this is what we ate after leaving the gym. We had our little junk sometimes. And, went from sometimes I knew what he liked, where I'm like, oh, I would hear him mention it. And I'm like, oh, let me get it for him and stuff like that. And, and vice versa, he would do the same. And there was just moments of just like, oh, yeah, I got to go here today. And it's like, oh, I need to get that too. And then, okay, well, let's go together. So it was like moments like that, pretty much brought us together. And like I said, it was just all friendship. And, just one day it just came to, things just went further on his part, I should say. So from there, it just, I could say we was probably friends for a good amount of time. I'd say close to a year, just due to the fact of, like I said before, COVID and stuff. It was like, we'll see each other, but not much conversation at the time until we really started like hanging out and just being cool. And from there, everything just moved forward between us.
Okay. Do you agree as well? That's your version of how you guys met?
I would agree. I would agree for the most part. Um, I think she missed out the fact of she tried to say it, but she didn't really say it. Where it's like most of what actually took us, I would say, to another level. See how she just said it, then it just went to my part. and she just pushed it on all me, like it wasn't a two-way street. But okay,
It definitely takes two.
it takes two. Thank you, thank you. It was just all me though. But we would, I mean, the gym we go to is right next door to the grocery store, and like you said, you know, we talk about what we would be cooking, and sometimes it's just like, okay, I need this from the store. So it started off going with us just going to the grocery store together a lot of times after the gym because sometimes um, it's like the more you work out and stuff like that, it's like there's certain things you just want to buy for that meal that you wanna make and stuff like that. So it's like we were going to the grocery store a lot. So we were going to the gym like 5 times a week, Monday to Friday, and then it grew to. I mean, even we even ran into one of my cousins in the store one time, and she's like, "You guys are together." And at that time, we were just going as friends and everything, and we're sitting there just like, nah, we're just friends, like, and you know, then it grew from that, and the next thing was we stopped going to the gym on Fridays because we at that moment in time of us going for about a year or so with COVID and everything happening, it was just like felt like there wasn't much growth in the gym, and we just needed an extra day off. So we started our own thing of like it would still be an active day, but like an active rest day. We would go to there was a pond that is local to us. We would go to the pond and then we would walk, and then got to know each other a little bit better on the walk. So I probably walked for like an hour around the park or so and grew from there.
Okay. Well, cool beans. Fairly similar in terms of what Ms. Taylor said, but you just elaborated just a little bit more. Make sure you get your part in. So we want to make sure we hear from both parties. So that's good. For sake of time, I'm going to rush through these next questions because my timer is on and it's saying I got about 7 minutes. So, so the next question is, if God had answered all y'all prayers for y'all relationship you have right now and performed a miracle in your relationship, what would your relationship look like? Be specific.
Hmm.
If he can do one thing for your relationship, what do you think it would be?
If
I
he
would
could do one
say
thing, go ahead. You can answer.
God, if God could do one thing for your relationship, like perform a miracle, what would that be?
I would say a family home.
Okay. So a house.
Yeah.
Mm,
Okay. Miss Taylor.
I honestly agree.
Okay.
I'll say the same thing.
So that's in unison. Okay. Um, okay. So does faith play a part at all in your relationship?
I would say
I would
so.
say yes.
Okay. And do you want to share what you guys' beliefs are, or what do you guys have different beliefs, same beliefs?
I'll say the same
Uh,
beliefs.
yeah, yeah.
What is the denomination that you guys both relate to?
I'm considered I'm Christian.
I'm saying
Mr.
same.
Mr. Pinnock,
Sorry.
same?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Any issues that you guys ever have as it pertains to, let me see how I want to word this. Is anything specific about your relationship besides what you already mentioned about the baby and work that we have not discussed that you want to mention?
No.
Okay. So overall, you guys think you have a fairly decent, conducive working alliance as it pertains to the relationship?
Yes, I would say so.
Okay. Well, that's good. So I am going to stop right now for sake of timing. I'm definitely going to ask you guys if you can have a small homework assignment. And I am a believer that anytime anyone comes to me with an issue or a problem, they have everything inside of them to resolve it. And a lot of that comes with some of the things that you said are your strengths, communication, kind of talking through and figuring out like what's going to be the best, plan of action for our situation. So your homework really is when we come back together in 2 weeks, just give me some feedback on, I'll have some other things that we can discuss, but mainly for your homework, it would be just kind of talk more about what is this, working relationship going to look like as it pertains to having a baby, and how you guys can make it be beneficial for both of y'all, the expecting of the baby, as well as being beneficial to Mr. Pinnock, so he doesn't have like the burnout or feel some kind of way. A lot of times when you do have some unease at a job, it's just like, I totally understand you really don't have the zeal to want to go there anymore. And then really just look at, is there an opportunity to go ahead and take the new position and make it work with the baby coming? Or do you want to hold off on taking the new position and planning what that would look like? Is it going to be, if you do decide that, it's going to be 4 months, 6 months, a year? And essentially, so that's your homework. Do you guys have any questions for me?
No.
Okay, you think that's a decent task that you guys could work on for the next time we come back together?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, again, I want to thank y'all for choosing me today to come to with your concerns. And I will go ahead and kind of review everything we talked about today, try to come together with some type of treatment plan, and then we'll talk about that next time we come together. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate
All
it.
right. Thank you guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. Okay.
Thank you. You do the same.
Okay. Bye.
All right.